10-year-old Chihiro is a young girl who is traveling with her parents to her new home. They stumble across a spa that's abandoned, but it has delicious food that her parents eat without regard. A young boy named Haku tells her she needs to leave, as this is a resort for gods and monsters. But by the time Chihiro gets back to her parents, they've already been turned into pigs. He tells her that she needs to do everything in her power to get a job at the resort in order to get out of there safely with her family. The girl, now known as Sen, must get her family back and find her way back home before they're all spirited away. Spirited Away is an anime film that deals with the subjects of a monomyth, or a hero's journey, if you will, taking concepts of travel, experience, adventure, and characters to advance the character from beginning to end. And looking at the experience of Chihiro, we ask the question, what is a monomyth? At the beginning of our tale, Chihiro is just an average girl, having to deal with moving a place that she doesn't want to go, and does what all young girls do, sulks. Her parents disregard her concerns and are more focused on getting from point A to point B. When they stumble across the spa in the middle of their path, they are then forced to deal with the situation and just explore. Chihiro, having some semblance of sense, doesn't want to explore this abandoned place. She just wants to reluctantly go to the place she doesn't really want to go, but she knows she'll feel safe in comparison. When Chihiro comes across Haku, that is when everything changes. She knows now, affirmatively, that she is in danger. She's not sure of what's happening, and it's more confirmed when her parents are transformed into pigs. As Haku explains to her the way this world works, she's just as confused as the audience. We don't really know this world, this whole concept of spirits and monsters, and we're just as scared and lost as Chihiro is from this entire get-go, going from her reality into this new one without a hesitation. But she knows, even though she doesn't understand, she has to abide by the rules. Haku tells Chihiro the only way she's going to get her parents back and get away from this place is she needs to get a job. And in order to do that, she needs to talk to the evil witch Yubaba. But first needs to talk to the boiler room operator Kamaji. Kamaji bribes another woman named Lin to get her to Yubaba to ask for a job. Reluctantly, due to their bias against humans, Yubaba still will give her an opportunity, but when Chihiro signs her name in the kanji, Yubaba removes one of them, changing her original name of Chihiro to Sen, and that she will have to work hard hours and work and live at the bathhouse, doing the lowest of the low work. And reluctantly, Chihiro agrees. However, Haku did inform her that if she fully forgets her real name, she'll never remember it and be stuck there forever. Sen is forced to deal with the worst of the worst, being treated by her coworkers so cruelly because she's human, to having to clean up a disgusting muck creature, who later does reward her, to a mysterious mute creature named No-Face, who goes from being friendly to being a ravenous glutton with no end in sight, and finally, having to deal with Yubaba's son, who is a greedy giant baby. All of these things would be overwhelming for anyone to deal with, but unfortunately, Sen has to power through for not just her, but for her parents' sake. To make matters worse, Haku, who stole a golden seal that would allow Sen to get her original name back, is now dealing with a deadly curse put on there by Yubaba's twin sister who she doesn't talk to. And so now Sen must find her own way to save Haku. Kamaji tells Sen that the only way she can save Haku is to go to Zeniba, the evil twin sister, and get a way to fix the curse back from her. But unfortunately, Chihiro doesn't really know anything of how to get there. She barely knows the world around her. And to make matters worse, she doesn't really know that many people she could really trust to go with her. Lin, who had saved her whole life to get a train that is constantly traveling around the spirit world and through the bathhouse, gives Sen her ticket and allows her to get onto that train. Along with this, she's accompanied by a mouse that was once Yubaba's son, and No-Face, now seeming to make some sort of penance for what he did. And both of these creatures, despite not being kind to her, now seem to be the only allies she can rely on. Once she arrives at Zeniba's cabin, she realizes that Zeniba is not evil, like Yubaba is. Zeniba is kind and caring and loving. Her evilness is from the fact that she's a witch who is not evil, cursing Haku only because of the effects of the actual thing he stole, not over the fact that Haku is who he is. Sen slowly is barely remembering her own name. She does tell her real name as Chihiro. It's coming to the realization that the longer she's there, the more she's forgetting what her own parents look like, forgetting who she is, forgetting her own name, and she, of course, breaks down. And despite her being almost complete stranger and having no other friends, those that she did fear at one point are now her friends. She feels that she's finally ready to face Yubaba. Haku finally arrives to greet Sen and take her back to the bathhouse. Happy and overwhelmed to see him, she remembers a distinct memory of falling in a river as a young girl, and then it dawns on her and she realizes Haku is the river spirit of the river near her house as a child, and that his full name is Kohaku River. And as that realization dawns, Haku changes from a dragon back into his real form as a young boy, and they both cry in happiness while free-falling to the realization that they have their identity. They know who each other are. And the reason he couldn't remember his name is the Kohaku River doesn't exist anymore. Yubaba gives her one final test to prove that she can go home. Yubaba's test is to see if any of the pigs that are rounded up, that all look the same, are Chihiro's parents. And she realizes, looking deeply into all of them, they aren't. And so, she passes the test. She's free to go. She says goodbye to Haku. She goes back through the tunnel, and we start exactly where we were at the very beginning of the story, walking through the very tunnel, but this time through the opposite end. And there's nothing there. The car that they came in on is now covered in moss, as if having been abandoned for years. As Chihiro remembers everything, all the lessons she learned, everything she experienced, and is able to finally appreciate the life she has. So, what is a monomyth? A monomyth, by definition, is a hero's journey. A hero starts with basic necessities, where they begin, who they are, what their name is. And through a course of journeys and experiences, they travel. They have things happen to them, good, bad, mixed, and everything else that happens to them. But what makes Spirited Away so unique is its ability to simultaneously have the audience and the characters correlate with each other, in that we never really know the world around us. Chihiro doesn't. Sen definitely didn't. And she rolls with the punches. And unfortunately, all she did was use the information she had and eventually became smarter to the world around her. Smarter to every obstacle that came her way, facing her fears and realizing that she was better than when she was. Not appreciating what she had, more what she wanted. But I like to believe that, much like Chihiro's journey, how she started, what obstacles and problems she faced, and of course the friends she made along the way, all have an important role to determine who she is later down the road, and what that made her when everything is said and done, and she goes back to where it all began. But in the end, these aren't answers, they're hypertheticals.
Out of all the people in the city, why did I meet a man whose wife I killed?
You didn't kill anybody. Stop it. I can't get it. Because he's out there. He's always out there. That's why you can get it. That's why you're the one.